Okay. Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
Do you want to do a really quick reading in front of everybody?
Okay.
Okay, so I gotta warn you, I don't know a lot about astrology.
That's
the
okay.
reason why I have this on my phone is, dating. So I don't know a lot. All I know is that people hate Capricorns, is what I'm learning.
We'll start with your sun,
Okay.
which is in Capricorn, in your 12th house. So,
Okay, okay, go ahead.
so 12th house, why am I like, ooh, 12th house? 12th house is, well, one, it's ruled by Pisces. So yes, you're a Capricorn, but your understudy is Pisces, because your sun is like your ego. Your sun is, everything is centered around the sun. So Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars are going to be personal planets. So they're going to have, because they're the closest to the sun, to Earth.
Okay.
So they're going to have the most influence in your personal day-to-day living. Where when we're talking about Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, they're farther away, and their impact is more socially, not personally, if that makes sense. So you hear a lot right now about Pluto in Capricorn changing signs into Aquarius, and every time you hear about Pluto in Capricorn, we're talking about the housing crash in 2008. So it's impacting, our culture, our society, not necessarily us personally. Where Mars, personal planet, was in Gemini starting in October or November of last year. So think about November 1st of 2022 from March 2023. What was happening? We can look. But what was happening for you?
A lot, actually.
Right, it was everything. That was a huge, so Mars spent 7 months in Gemini. Mars's normal transit time through a sign is 45 days. So to be a month. So for Mars to be in Gemini for 7 months was incredibly impactful on a personal level.
Okay.
Yeah, what happened for you November 1st?
I was in a wonderful relationship. And I decided to, I don't know if it was November 1st, but it was the beginning of November. It was the end of October-ish. And it was a few conversations, and it ended, I think November 2nd or something like that. But what prompted it was the end of October. I asked them if it would be the most loving thing I can do. They were going through a lot. And I asked if it was the most loving thing I can do to let them go so that they can learn to love themselves again. And that turned it turned into a couple conversations, and then the answer was it would be.
Why do you think everyone hates Capricorn?
Because they literally will tell me that. Okay, so I was away a couple years ago. Reality show kind of thing. We're all just it was just a bunch of artists getting together. And anyway, so the alpha of the house came up to me at the bar one night, and it was just about a weekend. It was just hey, a lot of people are feeling you. They want to know if you're single. And I was like, and they were they want to know your sign. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm Capricorn. They left. They came back an hour later. And this has happened a lot of times. They came back and were oh, they all said, never mind. But this is what I get that a lot, is people are oh, you're a Capricorn.
We're just too multi-layered and expansive for that to be an accurate reason to never, because this is the thing, is when someone says I'm a Capricorn, you're really only telling me at most 1/12 of your astrology. Because you have each sign, well, you have 12 planets influencing, impacting you, defining, or like bringing opportunities to you.
Yeah.
I think Capricorns are independent. They're really ambitious. They're very driven. They are sea goats. So the glyph of Capricorn is half goat, half fish. So they're goat climbers. They're climbing on the sea cliff. And they have this much room for themselves. That's why they're so dexterous. That's why they're such great climbers, because they're like, look at this little rock splinter. I'm here.
I think those are the coolest.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. But like, they don't have room for other people, right? Like they are, because they are concerned about their own elevation. Capricorn energy is not the most romantic. It can be dominant. Capricorn is this is what my therapist once said, is like Capricorn is like, here, I dug a hole for you, as a way to show their love. Basic, but like in a very literal sense. It's like, I did this thing for you.
I can see why people wouldn't want to be with me then.
Both your Sun and Venus are in the 12th house, so there's a little bit of secrecy to these practical things that you're doing. It might not be just your secrets, it's also the house of like hidden enemies. It's all things that are invisible. All things that are not exposed, which is where there's a little bit of tension, because Capricorn is exposed. Capricorn is like, the reason we're ambitious is so that we can have more power, so that we can have visibility. But being in the 12th house, it sort of tells me that how you work is behind the scenes. How you relate to people might be a little bit indirect. Like even this, I'm like, it's very Capricorn, Sun, Venus in the 12th house. Is like, you are setting up so many cameras, there's visibility, but your personal visibility comes in tandem with exposing someone else, giving someone else more visibility. You're Cap rising, on top of having Sun and Venus in Capricorn and Neptune, but we'll get to that later. So it's how you would have conversation with yourself is very Capricornian, but also like the reason the other people believe you so much when you tell them you're a Capricorn is because you're a Capricorn rising. So like your rising sign, think of it as your spiritual skin, and then your sun sign is sort of what fills that out. So what people encounter in your day-to-day living is your rising sign.
Okay.
So you present as a Capricorn physically, but then also internally you're quite Capricorn.
Okay.
However, even though you're a Cap rising, so your rising sign is a location point. This is the sign that was crossing the horizon at the time of your birth.
Okay.
So your first house, however, is mostly Aquarius. And your first house is yourself, is like your personality, your identity. Like I am. And so if you had I am underscore, it would be I am Aquarius. And Aquarius is the water bearer. He's the person who is of service to society, who just is the duty of good deeds. Meaning they can be a little bit detached from the emotional part of it. So it's just responsible to be a good person, if that makes sense.
The intent is pure and good, the delivery is not the best.
It's just cold. Yeah, just direct. And that's gonna be, that's all sort of working together, your Capricornianness. I dug a hole for our anniversary. Like, I love you so much. Here's a hole that I dug, And then Aquarius is like, but you need the hole to grow your flower. Like, it's like.
So I literally dug holes. She had a backyard and there was a lot of dogs and there was a lot of like brown Spain, like there were like a lot of areas of the grass that was brown because of all the I spent like a month digging holes and like putting new fertilizer so the grass cannot be brown anymore.
Yeah. So let's talk about Jupiter in your first house in Aquarius. So Jupiter is King Midas. Everything he touches turns to gold. Everything he touches amplifies. Jupiter represents abundance and blessings and our spirituality. Being in the sign of Aquarius, your expansiveness shows up in service to others. And because so you will grow, your personal satiation expands when you serve other people.
Sure.
Especially because it's in opposition, it's in direct dialogue, direct conversation with your moon in Leo. So Leo loves to be seen. Leo is the actor. Leo moons, that's Leo sun. To me, every Leo moon that I've met has been some sort of facilitator, some sort of educator, some sort of teacher, mentor. So your service, one, expands with Jupiter, but it's also going to, your sensitivity, the moon is your sensitivity, is your embodiment. So when you're embodied in relationships, when you're embodied in partnerships, because your moon is in the 7th house of our committed partnerships, when it's relating to other people, when it's in service to other people, that's really when you are creating abundance for yourself, for your life, for your legacy, for society. So there's a real nice relationship between service and the love that you create within your relationships. Your relationships are an act of service, not to make it dull, but to make it romantic, right? Like acts of love. Yeah. It could be your anthem. So as we wrap up, to all those people who've not gone on a date because you're a Capricorn, they need to look where your moon is in Leo, because yes, you are there is nothing that you would not do for the ones that you love.
Thanks. You're incredible. A lot of what you said is like feedback I've gotten from people, because I guess being a Capricorn, I've hit up people after breakups to ask them for feedback.
I think that's amazing.
So I was like, I want to just be better for the next person. So like, anyways, I'm so hot from this reading. Where can people find you? Because this was amazing, and I do want to book like a real one. At some point. We gotta talk about this after this, but yeah, where can people find you?
You can find me on Substack. I have a newsletter where I talk about the new and the full moon and how you can integrate that into like magical self-care. It's ThePoetWitch.substack.com, or on Instagram at ThePoetWitch _. Those are the main ways to follow me, see what I'm doing, get inspired, be prompted to activate self-love, self-care.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was amazing. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.